Athletes will start the course by running a lap around the track carrying a sandbell. Women will use a 15-pound sandbell, men will use a 20-pound sandbell. Once the athlete has completed the lap, the athlete will drop the sandbell in the sandbell drop zone and begin performing a series of exercises down 12 lanes. Athletes will enter lane 1, the forward agility lane. Athletes will complete the following series of exercises: 2 in, 2 out hops on an agility ladder, 3 hurdle hops, and 3 cone 360s. Athletes will repeat this sequence of exercises a second time down the remainder of the lane. On the agility ladder, the judges will be looking for the athlete to hop 2 feet in each square and 2 feet to the side of the square in a forward motion. On the hurdle hops, the judges will be looking for the athlete to clear each hurdle individually in a jumping motion. On the cone 360s, the judges will be looking for both weight-bearing feet to travel around each cone. Once the athlete has completed lane 1, the athlete will then move on to lane 2. Lane 2, the lateral agility lane. Athletes will alternate the following exercises for the length of the lane: lateral shuffle to cone 360s and lateral shuffle to hurdle hops. Athletes will switch their lead foot halfway down the lane. On the lateral shuffle, the judges will be looking for the athlete's hips to remain square and for their feet to not cross. Once the athlete has completed lane 2, the athlete will then move on to lane 3. Lane 3, a slam ball lane. Athletes will complete a slam ball chest toss with the shoulder drop down the entire lane. Women will use a 15-pound slam ball, men will use a 25-pound slam ball. The judges will be looking for the athlete to perform a toss from the chest and for the slam ball to be tossed over the athlete's shoulder behind them. The athlete must repeat this sequence down the remainder of the lane. Once the athlete has completed lane 3, the athlete will move on to lane 4. Lane 4, a slam ball lane. Athletes will complete a slam ball crab walk to chest toss to the halfway cone, followed by a slam ball bear crawl roll to the end of the lane. Women will roll a 15-pound slam ball, men will roll a 25-pound slam ball. On the slam ball crab walk to chest toss, the judges will be looking for the athlete to complete a chest toss before advancing. Once the athlete's feet hit the cone line, they will transition into a slam ball bear crawl roll. On the slam ball bear crawl roll, the judges will be watching for the athlete's hands to be weight-bearing during the bear crawl. Once the athlete has completed lane 4, the athlete will then move on to lane 5. Lane 5, a rucksack lane. Athletes will complete a rucksack shoulder carry hand-release thruster down the entire lane. Women will use a 30-pound rucksack, men will use a 50-pound rucksack. Athletes must carry the rucksack on their shoulder as they travel the length of the lane. Every 10 yards, the athlete will perform a hand-release chest-to-ground or chest-to-rucksack thruster. The athlete will drop their rucksack and touch their chest to either the rucksack or the ground, flash their hands, stand up, and shoulder the rucksack. The judges will be looking for an over-the-shoulder carry with the rucksack, along with a hand-release chest-to-ground or chest-to-rucksack thruster. Once the athlete has completed lane 5, the athlete will then move on to lane 6. Lane 6, a rucksack lane. Athletes will complete rucksack front carry reverse lunges down the entire lane. Women will use a 30-pound rucksack, men will use a 50-pound rucksack. Athletes may carry the rucksack in any manner as long as it is in front of their body. Every 5 yards, the athlete will reverse lunge and touch both knees to the ground. The judges will be looking for any type of front carry and that both of the athlete's knees touch the ground every 5 yards. Once the athlete has completed lane 6, the athlete will drop their rucksack off, pick up a sandbell, and take off on a half lap. This half lap will take place on the field, and the athletes will be carrying a sandbell. Women will use a 15-pound sandbell, men will use a 20-pound sandbell. Once they return, the athlete will drop the sandbell in the sandbell drop zone and enter back through the 50-yard line to enter lane 7. Lane 7, a dumbbell lane. Athletes will complete a dumbbell backwards bear crawl to standing overhead press down to the cone, followed by a dumbbell carry to the end of the lane. Women will use 15-pound dumbbells, men will use 20-pound dumbbells. In the dumbbell backwards bear crawl to standing overhead press, the judges will be looking for the athlete's hand to be weight-bearing during the bear crawl and for the bottom of the dumbbells to clear the crown of the athlete's head for the standing overhead press. Once the athlete has completed lane 7, the athlete will then move on to lane 8. Lane 8, a dumbbell lane. Athletes will complete a dumbbell carry down to the cone, followed by a dumbbell forwards bear crawl to the end of the lane. Women will use 15-pound dumbbells, men will use 20-pound dumbbells. In the dumbbell forwards bear crawl, the judges will be looking for the hands to be weight-bearing. Once the athlete has completed lane 8, the athlete will then move on to lane 9. Lane 9, a bodyweight lane. Athletes will complete broad jump to hand release thrusters down the entire lane. Every 5 yards, the athlete must perform a hand release thruster. In the broad jump, the judges will be looking for both hands to touch the ground before every broad jump and for both of the athlete's feet to leave and land at the same time. In the hand release thruster, the judges will be looking for some part of the athlete's body to cross the cone plane while performing the thruster and that the athlete flashes their hands during the thruster. Once the athlete has completed lane 9, the athlete will then move on to lane 10. Lane 10, a bodyweight lane. Athletes will complete frog jumps to the cone, followed by a reverse crab walk to the end of the lane. In the frog jumps, the judges will be looking for both hands to move at the same time and for the athlete's feet to move forward towards the hands in a jumping motion. Once the athlete has completed lane 10, the athlete will then move on to lane 11. Lane 11, a bag drag lane. Athletes will complete a bag drag back pedal down the entire lane. Women will drag a 50-pound bag, men will drag a 75-pound bag. The judges will be looking for the athlete to either hold or wear the strap while dragging the bag, and that the athlete's hips are square to maintain a backward moving position. Athletes will have completed the lane once their foot touches or crosses the far sideline. Once the athlete has completed lane 11, the athlete will then move on to lane 12. Lane 12, a bag drag lane. Athletes will complete a forward bag drag down the entire lane. Women will drag a 50-pound bag, men will drag a 75-pound bag. The judges will be looking for the athlete's hips to stay square, indicating a forward drag. Once the athlete has completed lane 12, the athlete will then drop the bag and take off on a final lap. The athlete will take off around the field and exit onto the track to complete a final lap before finishing the course. The approximate distance of the lap is 500 meters.